This is the Frat House Sports Show. And now for this week's completely different and humorous perspective on everything sports, here's Frat House Mike and Sidekick.
Well, welcome back, and incredibly, yes, we are actually going to be bringing you a show this week right here from the Frat House, proving, gentlemen, that we are, in fact, the most consistent internet-based sports talk program out there. Coming to you a couple of days late. For those of you that are aware, we broadcast from the eastern section of Pennsylvania, and this particular winter, it seems like since about the second week of December, absolutely horrific weather here in this area, from brutally cold temperatures in certain weeks to last week where Monday we got 8 inches of snow. Follow that up on Tuesday night by an ice storm that knocked out 700,000 residents of power, including ourselves. We lost power here on Wednesday and Thursday, which is why we're a couple of days late here. This picture here, some might think this might actually be the Midwest. But this is actually right up the road in Reading area. Right there. Right there. Yes, that's right up the road in Reading, right off of 422, not far from here. That's the kind of weather we have had here. And we thought that it's being a somewhat more relaxed program that we're bringing you here on a Sunday afternoon. We thought perhaps maybe what we would do is dub this one our Mad as Hell show. Because frankly, I think we're all kind of sick, sore, and tired of the weather here. I'm ready for spring. I don't know about anybody else.
You know, you kind of cursed it when you said that the Seahawks had a snowball's chance in hell of winning. And now, look what we've got.
I don't recall saying that. I don't recall saying that.
Piss me off.
Now look.
But we are going to, each one of us is going to have an opportunity at some point to sound off on something that we are mad as hell about that may not necessarily have anything to do with the weather. But before we get to that, we have a little mop-up work we want to do, and well, it was last week about this time that we were getting ready to sit down and watch the big game.
Yep.
Talking about this is going to make somebody mad as hell.
Who do you think that is?
Well,
mad as hell.
And I've got to. I mean, look, we know what the final outcome was. You know, final score 43-8. I mean, my gosh, before it took Denver until late in the third quarter before they ever even saw their first points.
You can see that.
Yeah.
Right?
Before they ever saw their first points. 36-0 at one point for Seattle. I mean, seriously, nobody saw this one coming. Really?
No.
Wow. I saw it happen. Does that count? I saw it happen, man.
Yeah, we saw it happen.
Cheap plug there.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know.
I couldn't have ever imagined that if you had told me the Broncos would come out with 8 points.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
My God.
What? I was just.
At one point in the game, both teams had actually scored the exact 8 points, which by itself is kind of unique. You never see. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you right.
7-7.
Yeah.
You might see 14-7.
Right.
You know, but 8, and the other team eventually would put up 8?
Right, because the game started off with a safety. How many prop bets were actually won in that particular?
The fastest score in a Super Bowl.
Oh my God!
I mean, and look at like I said, look at the prop bets.
Seconds, right?
We had a safety scored. We had a pick six. Okay, that occurred, and we had a touchdown from a kick return. Look at the number of prop bets that probably had to be paid out on that one, and who'd have thunk it? But, you know, one of the things I had pointed out in last week's show in doing my analysis, and of course I was on the other side of it, was I said if the Broncos can sustain Marshawn Lynch, they had a chance. And in the end, in fact, that's exactly what they did. Lynch only had 15 carries and 39 yards. So obviously the Seattle Seahawks were able to compensate in other areas to get the points on the board and to stymie Peyton Manning.
Well, and that was one of the things that I brought up was the fact that Seattle had to get pressure and force Peyton to get out.
Right.
And that's exactly what they did. And then I think I don't know if it was the final tally, but at some point in the game I saw a stat come up. Peyton only threw in Richard Sherman's direction once.
Okay.
So that eliminated half the half the field for the receivers. So it was almost like a Revis Island kind of thing where he was only throwing to the one side of the field and just staying away from Sherman. So which led probably to him getting more pressure and stuff like that.
One of the comments that Sherman made during the course of the week was that they analyzed so much tape, so much footage on Peyton Manning that, in fact, they were able to crack the code of his
hand
signals.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you, I mean, it certainly appeared that, in fact, that may have been the case when you take a look at what the defense did against Manning. They had the pick six, they hit him 4 times, sacked him once, 2 interceptions. Obviously, it was the defense that really won the game, I would think. I mean, you look at it, you say 43 points put on the board. Really, though, it had to be, I mean, it's the Seattle defense that won the game, yes?
Right. Well, absolutely. I mean, defense / special teams.
Yeah.
You had that return, you had the pick six, you had the 2 interceptions and everything. One thing I saw funny was they posted that Peyton said Omaha twice in the game.
Right.
And I don't know. No, I don't know.
Didn't hear much Omaha. Gotta be honest with you.
Obviously you don't know what Omaha means.
Well, we saw that you had brought it up though that we had seen the number of Omahas being used, cutting back over the course of the past couple of weeks from the one time where there was a high of like 43.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it must be some sort of ploy to pull an offense off sides, and when it isn't working, obviously he doesn't
use it. Right.
And we saw in that game when he had that huge number of Omahas that they were indeed, coming over the line often.
Yep.
So, but hats off to Seattle for
Peyton Manning was hurried all day. I mean, let's get it straight. He was hurried all day. You read the numbers of hits and that, but he was hurried all day. He was flustered. He was hearing voices in his head, I'm sure. And for what it's worth, unsung hero Percy Harvin. Come on, I thought he was MVP material myself. The guy by himself. You didn't think they had the offense maybe 4 weeks ago. Seattle, it was all that defense, but here's Percy Harvin turning it on. I mean, made a big difference, as you say. Marshawn Lynch, sort of non-factor.
Yep.
I think he had 1 touchdown.
Yes, he had 1 touchdown.
Right. He had 1 short.
That was his burst. That was it.
And obviously, Seattle, they knocked out Marino, and then Ball. Collectively they weren't much.
Well, they weren't able to run the ball at all. I think,
but then eventually, I think they actually started running a little bit better once Marino got knocked out.
Well, I think if I saw the stats correctly, Denver only had 39 yards on the ground the entire game, and that was between the two runners, between Monty Ball and Noshawn Marino. There's a lot of talk right now about the fact that some of the defensive players on Seattle are going to be coming up for free agency. If they're able to keep that defense together, this team being as young as they are, you could be looking at an old-fashioned kind of legacy here with this particular team, yes?
Youngest team since 74 Steelers? Maybe I'm wrong on the date, 75 Steelers, but they proceeded then to go on a dynasty and rip up like 3 of the next 5 or 4 of the next 6, something like that. So I'm with you. Young team, cohesive. Doesn't look like it'll take, a gutbuster to keep this pretty much together. Yeah. They just have 1 or 2 moves.
I'm just concerned it could turn into a Baltimore situation where you start losing your defensive players.
You hope not. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess a lot of what Pete Carroll and the Seahawks front office are trying to do there in Seattle seems to be working with trying to have this team concept and team building and stuff like that. And that may, sometimes that's what happens when you see, like with the Ravens. You have a good season, and then people start saying, "Hey, I can get paid."
Right.
And you see the team start disintegrating, and that. Whereas with the Patriots, the Patriots are very much into that team. We're one kind of thing, where you see that, and that's honestly how you get your dynasties is when you've got a group of guys that all
But one of the reasons I think we haven't seen that kind of dynasty sort of thing is because of the whole free agency era.
Absolutely right. And in this, an exception. And they're trying to be proactive in order to stem off. So in other words, they're already looking 1 year ahead and 2 years ahead of who's going to need to get paid. How can we start thinking in terms of getting them ready now so that we don't hurdle that
run
again
into that problem
2 years from now? So you're right. I mean, right now they kind of got the bedrock of building, like really building, so, repeat at least deep in the playoffs.
Yeah, and at some point or another, I think we need to talk about, I mean, everybody's talked about it up to this point, but at some point we got to talk about, I mean, Peyton Manning losing another one, not much more time here, I mean, we talk about his legacy. And
legacy
you
issues.
Get
but,
nothing.
Yeah, I agree.
You
We'll
lose.
get back on that.
Good day, sir.
Time.
Congratulations, though, go out to the Seattle Seahawks.
Right there. Right there.
Our
You better believe it.
Super Bowl 48 champions.
Right.
And there you have it. That's our football coverage. Well, I guess we'll be kicking it back up in about 25 weeks from now when we'll be doing our preseason roundtable.
Absolutely right.
A little more mop-up that we got to do here. And, you insisted upon saying it.
Oh,
until I put it up there.
I'm having a good year.
Yeah. You came in at a whopping 58%, dude.
Yeah, but I've been losing to you for several seasons.
Yeah.
My fantasy team did well this year. I did well in the playoff challenge. I did well. I mean, it's so on my picks, but I still,
Beat me by 4 games, so there's our final on that one. So we cleaned that mess up. Let's clean up our postseason fantasy league. Congrats again out to Mick down in Australia.
Crow, dude. Nice
Good job.
I mean, 801. Holy crow,
first
not
time.
even close.
This was his first season ever playing American fantasy football.
First loser, right there.
Yeah, first loser.
There he is, but that's okay.
And I'm the 9th loser, 10th loser down there at the bottom.
I'm in the middle because I'm unnecessary. See, I even said it. I put it in my name.
Now, since we're talking...
Oh, really? Now listen, for every like,
I don't do that.
No, we don't. For every like we get on our Facebook page, by the way, a donation will be made by Frat House Mike to the International Olympic Committee. So we want to get a lot of likes. Mike's doing something good for everybody.
Good work in the community.
Right there. That's our guy.
I thought he was going to be making a donation to one of Richard Sherman's charities.
Well, maybe we'll look into that.
Listen, since we're talking fantasy, NASCAR fantasy already, and we'll be looking at Sidekick's picks coming up here shortly. 2 weeks from today, we've got the Daytona 500. Sidekick will be there.
That's right.
Awesome.
That's right. Yep.
That means that you've got 2 weeks to jump in on our NASCAR Fantasy League. Yeah. All right, we've got 10 spots still open right now. 25-team league. We've got 15 in. We got 10 more. If you're interested in joining in on that, you got to get over to our Facebook page. If you haven't given it a like, give it a like, and then get in touch with us. Send us a message, inbox us, send us an IM, something, and we'll make sure that you get an exclusive invite to our private league.
Oh, it's a lot
of fun, and you get to hear. And it makes sense then when you hear Sidekick's weekly picks. What that's all about. So.
And we're a new twist this season is I started up the Streak to the Finish fantasy game, which is more of like an elimination style where you pick one driver each week who's going to be in the top 10. You can't repeat drivers until you've broken your streak of picking top 10 drivers. Then you can go back and you can start over again. So it's a little bit different, but it's kind of like if you've ever played those elimination fantasy football, where you can only pick a player once a season kind of thing. So a little twist.
I like it. So should be fun.
All right, and since I'm talking Facebook, how about our Facebook Frat House Sports Facebook post of the week, which this week hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, almost 1,000 views actually on the pick that was taken. Our annual picture taken right here at the Frat House last Sunday during halftime of the big game of the overwhelming crowd. I think it was the biggest crowd we've ever had here at the Frat House.
Yep.
For our Super Bowl extravaganza.
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of wings were consumed at that
Yes,
as well. So
lots and lots of food.
And next year we may have the fire marshal out talking about the
really, well, they'll be
exceeding
limiting,
our,
right. We'll have a bouncer at the door,
red carpet.
Exactly. Checking ID and stuff. All right, before we get into our mad as hell section, real quick, we want to just jump over and acknowledge the fact that the Winter Olympics have begun. In fact, some of it's going on over my shoulder. Of course, I'm saying that, and there's probably a commercial on over there.
No, actually,
I did it well? Okay,
you
good.
got it this time.
All right, good. But the Winter Olympics started on Thursday night out in Sochi. Well, at least the broadcast started Saturday night here in the United States. From Sochi, Russia, a lot of talk and conversation about, well, has Sochi been ready? Are they ready? Are they prepared? And, of course, then all the funny kind of stories coming out about what accommodations have been like and bobsledders beating down bathroom doors and things like that. But it all really already has been a kind of a fun sort of thing. There have been a lot of fun events already that have taken place. You were just talking about the cross country up here. That's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, my goodness.
But I'm going to throw it out there real quick. The Olympics, Sidekick, you were bringing it up pre-show. We're watching it. We're following it. I'm interested in it. But I guess the first question I have is, has it kind of lost its luster? And I'm going to throw it over to you because you kind of alluded to that.
Yeah, it's kind of funny with us being semi, in the sports reporting.
Semi? What do you mean semi?
Well, that's why I we're semi-professional, I guess.
Yeah. Well, speak for yourself.
Well, we're bloggers.
Go ahead.
And the fact that the Winter Olympics is on, and I really have no interest whatsoever. I haven't followed anything. I just don't care. Which is odd because we report on it every week. We report on sports and stuff. I have no interest whatsoever in the Winter Olympics. I don't.
Now, you have been in the past, is what you're saying, though. Have you in the past?
I mean, in the past I have. Like, I used to like I remember the Jamaican bobsled team.
They're going to be in,
and stuff like that. But it's just this year, I don't know. I just have no interest. If there's one thing I'm going to watch of any of the Winter Olympics, it will probably be some of the hockey,
right?
Because I want to see how the U.S. fares,
right?
But other than that,
I mean, I for one have kind of gotten into it. I mean, I always do kind of get into the Olympics, both summer and winter. I think I actually enjoy the Winter Olympics a little bit more than the Summer Olympics. But I've been finding myself sitting here and actually watching all of the hours of coverage being brought to us by NBC. The other thing, though, I throw out there, and I believe it was actually today, it was on this date 34 years ago, that the Miracle on Ice occurred. Of course, that was the famous, Russian, of course, they were the Soviet Union at that time, and USA Olympic hockey team. That was not for the gold, by the way, folks. That was not the game.
No.
That was the game that led to the game.
Before.
Right, that was the game that led to the game that got us into the gold medal round. But we beat the Soviet Union in that particular, and that was a tremendously galvanizing event in sports here in this country. That competitiveness, and with these particular games being held in Russia, it doesn't seem to me to have the kind of, U.S.-Russian competitive feel that it used to have. Yes? No?
Interesting. Right now, I'll tell you what, it is early, and I can understand where Sidekick's coming from, and I respect that. But thus far, I think the gaffes have been better than the games, okay? Because, there's been just too much fun coming out of it that way. I don't know. No, this kind of feel-good thing, I don't know if nationally we have that sense like we used to.
Nationalistic.
Of us versus them kind of thing. I don't think necessarily that's true. But I will say this, and I think we'll see it going forward, that the Russians, because they are the hosts, are going to put forth that sense to the world.
That they're the best.
And it is for them. They are saying us against y'all. if you get what I'm saying,
I think any country that is a host
country,
perhaps, is that? Would you say it's universal?
But I think part of it also is, when you've got the, Mr. Gorbachev, bring down that wall.
Yeah.
There's no Cold War anymore.
No,
you've got the Soviet Union has broken up. And
well,
you've got Russia.
These
and
individual small countries, right?
Generally speaking, Olympics in general, summer, winter, I think what you see more competition with is China. With competing with the Chinese and stuff. The Soviet Union and the former Soviet bloc countries have kind of taken a little bit of a back seat to China.
As far as you're saying, as far as our kind of personal competitiveness,
yes,
with another country,
or generally looking at the leaderboard,
right?
It's usually you see the Chinese up there.
And yet, maybe it's just by virtue of it being the Winter Olympics. I don't recall there being quite the delegation from China for the Winter Olympics that we see in the Summer Olympics.
Yes, so that's why I said generally speaking,
it's much more competitive
between the two. Yeah. There are some countries better suited at winter sports.
Absolutely right.
I mean, right now, who's leading the medal board right now is being led by Norway. Which
and
I had brought that up before. Norway is consistently always up there in the top. So
they're always cold too.
Well, and listen, as it's snowing outside as it's snowing outside, and we're all sort of mad as hell over the weather. There's a group of people right there over there in Sochi that I guess love the winter, right? Because you're going to have Olympic Games, and we're going to play in it, and we're going to luging. That's crazy. Luging. Huh?
Al Michaels was saying not far from.
When I was a kid, that was called sledding.
No, I heard you. My God. But laying down, I'm a missile. Holy crap.
Al Michaels was saying that today, before some of the coverage, that in some sections right, on the outskirts of the Olympic Village, 50 degrees in Sochi today.
Yeah, wow. Snowmaking.
But nice segue for us there, as you talked about being mad as hell about the fact that it's snowing here again.
Boy, is my face red.
Let's jump over
you
to
guys. I'm going home.
Our rants, our mad as hell rants here. And Sidekick, you got one coming to us. I think you have a little conversation you want to bring to the table with regard to the Rams. Huh?
Yeah.
Just when we thought football season when our talk was over.
Where do I start?
How do we begin this one?
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Give up on the Rams and just be an Eagles fan, I guess.
There you go.
And be disappointed that way because my other team is disappointing me too. So anyway, news has come out that the owner of the St. Louis Rams, Stan Kroenke, has purchased a 60-acre parcel of land in Inglewood, California, West Side. And he's proposing a MLS team stadium and an NFL stadium with seating capacity, I think we were saying, about 70,000, which is a NFL size.
That's a reg stadium. Yeah, you don't need that for MLS.
He's on the NFL LA Stadium Commission. I'm tired of hearing about the Rams moving. We've got all this drama with this, when the Rams moved, every 10 years, the stadium that the Rams play in St. Louis has to be one of the top 8 teams, stadiums in that. And so we're 20 years of the stadium, and now we've come up to look at what the stadium is.
Right.
And the Rams want 700. I think it was 725 million. No, billion.
That'd be million.
Yeah, million. Sorry. Anyway, but they, the city of St. Louis said, "Hey, we'll do 124 million." The Rams came back and said, "We want 725." It went to arbitration. The arbitrator upheld the Rams. St. Louis has come back and said, "Well, I'm sorry, we're not going to give you that money." So now it goes, after next season, it goes to a year-by-year lease where the Rams can opt out and move if they want to.
Okay.
Stan, when he became the primary owner of the Rams, said his intent was to keep the team in St. Louis. But yet there's been all this stuff going on with him and LA. And you've got Jeff Fisher. He brings in Jeff Fisher, who was instrumental in helping the the Oilers, I'm sorry, move from Houston to Tennessee. So the pieces are kind of fitting in. And then you've got Goodell on his high horse talking about they want a team in LA so bad. And I'm at the point now where just take the team, just get that out of my city.
You filthy
you know what I mean? Because
right there.
As a fan, obviously St. Louis, it's baseball. Passionate about baseball. Football comes second. But football's still big in St. Louis. We had the Cardinals up and they moved to, Arizona.
One of your older clubs, right, dude?
Right.
I mean, the Cardinals, that's old football.
We get in, the Rams. Rams win a Super Bowl. And then now they're talking about moving. They want to, what I call extort all this money from the city. You go back and you look at their record. They haven't had a winning record since 2003. Since 2003, or since 2004 rather, they've had 2 500 seasons. You go back and you look at 07, 08, and 09, they had 3 wins, 2 wins, and 1 win respectively.
Oof.
How can you justify
demanding,
saying, hey, we want $725 million in this stadium when the product you're putting on the field is poor? I can understand if you were winning divisions, like the Eagles. Okay, the Eagles may not have won a Super Bowl during the Andy Reid years, but they were almost leading to
pretty consistently in the playoffs.
Leading to divisions. You can make a good argument to put butts in seats, and extort money because your team's good.
Are you selling out though? Is St. Louis selling out consistently for their home games?
Well, the dome is small. Actually,
it is.
If you look at the seats, it's not like a Link or anything like that. It's a small venue.
But they are selling out.
No, not really.
Okay, because my first thought was, well, this guy's got a cash cow. He knows it. So he's going to be able to strong arm based on the fact that, hey, we are selling out. You got to give me the upgrade money because we're selling out. And,
I want to say off the top of my head, they were selling out until Georgia Frontier died and passed away. And that's when the team kind of went into this lull.
And that was circa what year?
That was late 2000. Because Stan got the team in 2010.
Okay.
And that. So I think she passed away probably, like 2008, which is kind of where,
that's when it kind of.
Yeah, her health went down, the team kind of went down, and, things kind of fizzled out because the kids said they didn't want the team,
Gotcha.
Construction of any type of stadium in LA is going to be an alarm for anybody that something's making a move there. And it's not going to happen overnight. So obviously, if there were going to be a move, let's say, of the St. Louis Rams to LA, there's going to be more than enough notice. Everybody's going to know about it well in advance. This is not going to be a situation like the Baltimore Colts going to Indianapolis,
where
it happened overnight.
Boom.
Right.
Okay. And the fact of the matter is, listen, he could break ground tomorrow for a stadium if he wanted to, but everybody's going to be asking questions. Well, what the hell is that for? Okay. Sure. If in fact, a lid's kept on it. So I can't see where it's all going to be kept in a vacuum. It's going to come out somehow or another. Information's going to leak out of how it's all going to go. If in fact that's going to be the case.
Right.
And a stadium build like that, Sidekick, what are we looking at? You're looking at a timetable of what? At least 3 years.
3 years,
at least.
I would think.
By the time you get by zoning and municipal ordinances and all that sort of thing, and you get the construction underway, particularly for something as grand as what we've seen on paper, you're looking at multiple years.
Right. And then also, there's rules about teams moving and when they have to declare and different things like that. But what gets me as a fan is that, what you're talking about is we may have to hear about this 5 years down the road.
Absolutely.
And that's what's frustrating is, here we go again. We're talking about, now he bought a parcel of land. Now he's a real estate developer. Let me at least put that out there that it could not be a stadium.
You're right, exactly.
Or he could be just wanting to own the stadium and not necessarily own the team that's there.
Buy the property up in anticipation of the NFL saying there will be a team there, which may not be yours.
But it's, you can look at the pieces this way, and then you can look at the pieces that way.
Right, sure.
But, it doesn't take too much to convince someone with all the pieces that it looks like he wants to move the team to.
Right.
Paints a picture. Certainly paints a picture.
All right, well, Sidekick, you had your mad on. Let's move it over to Uncle Mark. What you got there, dude?
I'm mad as hell. I'm mad as hell. It's snowing out. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the ice. And this is a sports forum, so I really can't bitch about the weather. So I've decided I'm going to bitch about things that really annoy me, and that's poor sports. I can't stand poor sports. Now, I'm looking, we got the Olympics, right? Yep. They're over there. It's in the wintertime. They're loving the winter. We're hating the winter. I hate the winter. They love the winter. But I'm thinking, you know what? If you like the winter that much and you're going to play out, you got to be a good sport. You got to be a good sport. Well, I don't like poor sports. What are poor sports? Jerks. Jerks. And we've had plenty of jerks. This whole last year was filled with jerks, if you think about it, right? 2013, year of the jerk. It started with, Lance Armstrong, right? Lance Armstrong, admitted cheater. I'm going to go cry about it on Oprah. Join me. Hop on her sofa.
I'm not the enemy.
Yeah, right. No, it wasn't me. It was the other guy.
Right.
Michael Waltrip Racing, right? That group, another group of cheaters.
Yeah,
we're going to have that, right?
Yeah.
These cheaters are jerks, as far as I'm concerned. If you're a cheater, you're a jerk. Okay? If you got a character issue, well, Johnny Manziel, little character issue, little question.
Yeah.
I'm going to sign maybe a few autographs and give me 5 figures. I'm not trying to strong arm nobody. No, listen, it's all good fun.
Extortion.
It's all good. Nah, yeah, exactly. You got your guy over there, Bynum, right? Hey, where'd he wind up now? He got another golden parachute, right? $16.2 million to never play for Philadelphia 76ers. Nice. What did we get? Ugats. That's what we got. Okay. He's meantime.
Forget about it.
Oh yeah, forget about it. Forget about it. He's a jerk. I got no time for jerks. We have too much jerks. You know what? I wouldn't invite jerks into my house on Sunday, but every Sunday I invite these jerks into my house. I tune in. I can't stand it. Controversy. There's always controversy. You got Incognito versus Jonathan Martin. Who's a bully? Oh, he hit me. Oh, I'll run away. I can't play no more. Yeah, controversy. What's it do for us? Nothing.
Let's come to an understanding.
He's all but guilty. He's not guilty. Wait a minute. He's guilty. You're out. You're in. You're out. Yeah, jerks. Constantly.
He's going to be on Oprah.
I can't
with
stand
Lance.
it. Yeah, really. He'll be hopping on our couch next.
Wow. There you go.
You got a subset group under there. There's a little subset group under there. These are wannabe jerks. They're the whiners. They're the whiners. We're going to, I can't go on my way. Oh, I spent millions and millions and millions of dollars. Wait, show me Ed Snyder. Can I see Ed Snyder? Oh, there he is. There he is. This guy is so close to being a jerk. I'm not quite sure. He's right on the bubble. He's right on the edge. Okay? But right now he's a whiner.
He's got the culture. He's got the culture of a jerk.
Well, his culture's, yeah, right. You can see it. It's coming out over there. This guy right here is putting it out there during the Winter Olympics, right? And this is the time when we're all supposed to get together and it's all for one for all, and we're going to fight, and it's going to be a good sporting thing, right? No non-profit. This guy's basically stirring up the pot. He's whining that he's losing revenue for the next 2 weeks because all of his players are over there in Sochi playing for nothing. He wants to control this. Let's get this straight. Let's get out of the Olympics. That's basically what he's saying. We want to get out of the Olympics. It's problems so that they can run their old Canada Cup kind of series, whatever the flip you want to call it now, and make money on it. So we got a grade A whiner. Grade A whiner right there, right? And you got your preachers. Don't even get me started, Bob Costas. Oh, don't get me started. Don't get me started. You know what?
We're going to get our fill ahead in the next 2 weeks.
For the next
problem with America.
The next 2 weeks, and this is my final thought, and then whatever, we'll move to you, Mike. But the next 2 weeks, at least, for the Olympics, what we're going to have is an offer to fill our credibility fix. Because we're not going to be seeing out and out deception, chicanery, bullshit, drugs, lies, garbage. You'll see a lot of commercials. That happens, okay?
But that'll be right outside Olympic Village.
Right, exactly. And you won't see the protests because they won't be on camera. But for at least right here, I'll give you 2 weeks of hopefully jerk-free. I'm tired of you jerks. What's the matter with you jerks? Be a good sport. Grow up. Grow up. Put him in the bathroom. Yeah, I feel better.
How do you feel about the snowfall?
I got a problem with you.
Oh. a couple more jerks. How about that? We throw a couple more in there. Let me get over to one of my favorite topics, and that's college sports. All right. The money that is wrapped up in this, and here's where I'm going to take it for a moment. When you take a look at the outrageous salaries that head coaches are making in college sports, and a couple of them are some of my favorites, and let me start it off with the highest paid college coach in all of America is Mike Krzyzewski. I love the guy, but dude, you're not worth $7.2 million. No way, okay? One I don't mind bringing up, Nick Saban, the highest paid football coach in America over at Alabama, $5.4 million. These coaches are, and I'm going to tell you right now, these are the bigger programs, obviously. Duke, one of the biggest programs in the entire country. Alabama, probably the biggest, if not one of the biggest. You know, go to Texas, that's probably the biggest, actually, where Mac Brown just came from and just left. Probably the biggest program in all of America. These are the bigger programs. But even when you go to the small programs, go to the Division II schools and you start looking up what some of these college head coaches are making, it is a disgrace. And when we hear colleges screaming and hollering about the fact that they can't afford athletics, they can't afford, Temple just canned a whole bunch of programs, including baseball, softball, rowing, because they can't afford the programs. Maybe what they need to be doing is taking a look at what the salaries are that they're paying some of these guys. This is a disgrace. But then, throw on top of that, you got people like Ed O'Banion, who served on the 1995 national championship team for the UCLA Bruins, and then later on went on and had an NBA career of his own, now filing a class action lawsuit against the NCAA demanding that players, student athletes, be paid. This is a stinking disgrace, but one that would not be unexpected in light of the fact that our student athletes are sitting there looking up at coaches who are getting multi-millions of dollars and saying, well, what the hell? I should get a little bit of this. So in some respects, I don't blame O'Banion, although I think his case is ludicrous and ridiculous. I don't blame him necessarily for doing that. One of the people, though, you do have to blame, I'm going to go right to your buddy. You brought him up before. That's our friend Bill O'Brien over at Penn State.
Don't make me come up there.
To me, the most outrageous, disgraceful display of avarice and greed that I have ever seen in my life. This guy went in and took over a program 2 years ago that he knew was sanctioned and was going to come under all kinds of trials. He stood there in front of his kids and pleaded with them to stay with the program, that was the right thing to do. And what did he do? The first chance he could get, he bailed on the program himself to go over and take a lucrative job with the Houston Texans. This is what's wrong with college sports, is the fact that there are no real role models for these kids to be looking up to, if in fact they're being paid multi-millions of dollars.
Well, see, now, that's why I don't really get into the college sports.
I do.
Because
I get into
I understand you have a passion for the game, and you think that at the college level,
it should be pure.
Exactly. And I don't think it's pure. I don't think the NCAA is pure. I'm not even talking. This is before we start hearing about the contracts for all the coaches. I don't like the NCAA, the way they're profiting off of all of this. But I do want to debate you a little bit on the Bill O'Brien story. I thought when I first heard the news that he was bolting town, and that's what I thought. He went into Penn State, wanted to make a name for himself.
Oh, come on, you're going to bring up the whole Paterno group, making it feel uncomfortable. Oh, listen, then he's a whiner, okay? Sorry, then he's a whiner.
Let me write that down.
Put him under the whiner category. The culture of jerks, the Paterno people, because you can put the Paterno people under the culture.
Right, that's the culture.
My goodness, what a push you're making.
I'm kind of pissed off at the Paterno people for running him out.
I don't want to hear that. Come on. Wait a minute. This is the same thing then as Jonathan Martin and Richie Incognito. Oh, they're bullying me out of here. Come off of it. You got to stand up to it. You just go run your damn program and do it the right way. Listen, the guy had success at Penn State, did he not?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, then, God darn it, then that's all he needed.
Yeah, but if every day is a hostile work environment, if he's coming in and having to hear how these people are trying to tell him to run the program.
Well, he had pretty good success considering all the stress apparently.
Well, yeah.
Well, anyhow. All right. Well, there. I think you're getting the idea. We're mad as hell. They better change this weather soon because we're only going to get crankier, I'm afraid.
That's why I'm going to Daytona, buddy.
Yeah, baby.
Screw this weather. I'm going to Florida.
Throw something at him, will you? Oh, up there we go.
There we go. Flag. Sorry. We need somebody to go report on the 500. I'm sorry. I'll go. Twist my arm. I'll do it.
You know, I can only hope that the week that you're away, it's like 60 degrees up here. That's what I'm going to hope for. All right. Let's wrap it up for this week because we're going to be coming right back at you, believe it or not, in just a couple of days. And we hope that you enjoyed this particular one. It was fun for us to put together. Just a little something different on a relaxed. Oh, we were relaxed.
Don't you give me none of your back talk.
Before we get out of here, let's. I just want to send a couple of shout-outs, if I might, to some of our good friends. Started off with Chris down in Baltimore at Herb FM Sports Radio, Herb FM, www.herbfm.com. Get over there and check them out. Chris has been very, very loyal to us. He rebroadcasts our show every weekend. In fact, this particular program will be aired this evening at 8 p.m. on his airwaves. On the internet, www.herbfm. Thanks very much, Chris.
That's cool. I'm going to give that a listen.
Absolutely.
I'm going to give that a listen tonight.
Also, many thanks to Jim and Carl over at CLW83.com. Jim just got us a brand new, he's right on top of it. We have a new champion, right? So we've got a new intro for this particular show, showing off our new champion in football. He's been there all seasons long, changing our intro for us. Little nuanced things. You got to watch the intro, and then you'll see where he made the change.
Very cool.
CLW83.com.
Yep, no more Peyton in there.
How about it? Right.
Peyton's still in there.
One last
Photoshopped.
one last dig on
Photoshopped.
We photoshopped him right out of there.
But many thanks to those guys, CLW83.com. And then last but not least, get over and take a look at our FratHouseSports.net website. We're constantly changing things up. We got the countdown to Daytona up there.
Got a countdown.
Got the new polls going on for who's going to win the Daytona 500. Get over there, check it out. Check out all of our new content. We're constantly putting new content up there all the time, and we're getting good hits on that. So we appreciate that. And also make sure you get over and give our Facebook page a like. All right, there you have it. There's our show for this week.
And once again, for every like, Mike will make a donation to the International Olympic Committee. So help us
you're
out.
killing me with this.
You're killing me with this.
Mike's
right.
getting up off his wallet. This is very cool stuff.
All right.
You have to ask me nicely.
Yeah, really. We'll be back with you in a couple of days. In the meantime, there's one more thing you got to do for us. You know what it is. You got to keep us real. You got to keep us live. You got to keep us going. Yeah, I forget. See you in a couple of days.
Hurry up before the lights go out.
And the opening is all going to be about the fact we are late because we've had horrible weather. There are
We can't even throw caution to the wind because, look, the wind brought caution down.
We've got 2 slides showing nasty weather, including this one from, hey, folks, this isn't in the Midwest. It's just up the road outside of Reading. Next one. Yeah, that was just outside of Reading.
Nice.
That was just outside of Reading on 422. That's the opening. This is the opening. There are
so you got 2 slides.
There's actually going to be 3 because the next one is going to be where I explain that this is our Mad as Hell show. We're mad as hell at the world.
Not like
show.
anything at all.
No.
Nothing.
But